Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss about selection sort in Java. So let's study what selection sort is. So all of you know what is sorting. So what is sorting? Sorting means arranging of elements in ascending or descending order. So in Java there are several sorting techniques are there. Among them selection sort is the most simplest one. So let's see it. Selection sort algorithm sorts an array by repeatedly finding the minimum element considering the ascending order from unsorted part and putting it at the beginning. In every iteration of selection sort, the minimum element from the unsorted sub-array is picked and moved to its proper position. That is, in selection sort algorithm, there is a set of elements are there in the array which is in the unsorted format. And our purpose is to sort that elements in ascending order. So, for that, we are considering the minimum element. We are searching for the minimum element in the array. After finding the minimum element, we are putting it at the beginning of the array. We picked up and put at the beginning of the array. So, after sorting the first element, we next go for the next elements in the array. So, the remaining elements are in the unsorted format. The first element is in the sorted format. So, again we do the same process. We search for the minimum element in the subarray and find out the minimum element and picked up and sort it in the beginning or put at the beginning of the array. So this process continues until the entire elements in the array get sorted. This is what we are doing in the selection sort process. So let's illustrate this with an example. Let's consider this array. So here the array consists of a set of elements. A total of 10 elements are there. So each element in the array have an index position starting from 0. So here by selection sort technique we consider the first element. We take the first element in the array considering it as the minimum element and we compare the first element with the least element in the array. We are checking for the least element in the next set of elements. So when we are searching for the least element, we found that 1 is at the least element. It is at the index position 2. So what is the next thing we are going to do is that we pick 1 from its position and we swapped it to fifth elements, that is in the number elements element 5 position. That is we interchange the or we swap the positions of 5 and 1. That is 1 is swapped to 5's position and 5 is swapped to 1's position. So remaining elements will be as it is. They kept their own places. So after the first iteration we can see the element will be like this. That is 1 comes to 5's position and 5 goes to 1's position. Remaining elements will be in their own position itself. So what is the next thing we are going to do is that in the second iteration, so we know that first element we found the least element and it is sorted. So we want to search for the next set of elements. So this is the so our array consists of two parts, that is sorted array and unsorted array. Then we consider the unsorted array, remaining 9 elements. So we consider the third one, that is this element, second element as the least element and compare it with the minimum element in the array. Then we found that 2 is the minimum element. So what we do is that picked the 2 from its position and swapped it to 3's position. Interchange their position 2's and 3's. That is 2 come to 3's position and 3 goes to 2's position. Remaining elements will be in their own places. So after their swapping, the elements will be like this. So this process continues until the entire element in the array get sorted. So you can see that in the last iteration the entire element get sorted. That is, if there are 10 elements in the array, then there will be 9 iterations will be there. 9 steps will be there. That is, suppose there are n elements are there, there is n minus 1 iterations are there to sort the entire elements in the array. This is what we are doing in the selection sort process. So you people take some example of some elements in unsorted format and sort it. So you can know the, you do the dry run, so you know the difference in sorting of elements. So I hope this is clear for you. That is, considering the first element as the minimum element, and this minimum element is compared with the least element in the array. So the least element is 1. So we are taking, what is the next thing we are doing is we find out the minimum element. Now we found the least element. Then we picked up from its position and swapped with the first element in the array, because we compared these two elements 5 and 1. So this process continues until the entire element in the array get sorted. So this is selection sort technique. So let's move on to the program. So this is a program, that is class selection sort. So one thing you have to keep in mind is that when we are declaring a class name, don't give any space between the words. That is selection, so there is no space between the words. So you people know the rules for giving the class name, isn't it? So after the class we have to open the class, then main method, then open the main method and declare our array. Since we are going to store a set of integer elements, declare an array named A with the data type int. So this square bracket shows that it is an array. A is an array. So these are the set of the elements. There are a total of 10 elements are there. The elements are declared inside curly brace and each element is separated by a comma. So after declaring all the elements, close the curly brace and put the semicolon. So a total of 10 elements are there. So we know how to find the length of the array. That is, since the name of the array is A, array name dot length gives the length of the array. So what is the length of the array means the total number of elements the particular array holds. That is known as the length of the array. So we know the length of the array is 10. So we can store the length of the array, that particular number, inside a variable. So we declared a variable n for declaring the array length. So it is of integer type. The value returned by a dot length is 10 and it is stored in n. The next one is we have given a printed message. Here we have given, that is system.out.print unsorted array. So this is the first thing when we run the program. This is the first message appeared on the screen. So unsorted elements. So we are going to print this set of elements, the same thing. So since we already read or declared the values to the array, so there is no need for a for loop for reading this array elements. So our purpose is to just print. For reading and printing in array, for both these things we use for loops. For reading the contents and for writing the contents. So here we are printing or writing the contents. For printing we have to use a for loop since it is an array. That is for I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. That is initial value of I is, A of I is 0. Index position of 100 is 0. So this value we want to read until I less than n, that is I less than 10. Then open the for loop and after that we have given a printing message, that is system.out.print A of I plus double quotes, space, double quotes, then semicolon. So here you can declare like this also, system.out.println a of I, and close it. So if we give like this, what happens is the elements will be printed in a single row. That is, first element will be, that is 100 will be printed first, then there is a space. After that, second element is printed. Like that it goes. Suppose if you are giving system.out.println a of I, then 100 will be printed on first line, then 20 will be printed on second line. Like that it goes on. So we printed the unsorted elements. So next thing is our selection sort process. We want to sort the elements according to selection sort technique. So for that we are using two for loops. That is an outer for loop and inner for loop. The inner for loop is for finding the minimum element in the array, and outer for loop is for swapping the element. After finding the minimum element, we want to swap the elements position, isn't it? For that we are using the outer for loop. So here we have declared a for loop for int I equals 0, I less than n minus 1, I plus plus. So this is the main loop, outer loop. So the initial value of I is 0, and we will continue this process since we want to sort the entire elements in the array. So already we said that suppose there are n elements, then there should be n minus 1 iteration should be there for sorting the entire elements in the array. So n minus 1, that is 10 minus 1 iteration, that is total of 9 iterations will be there. Then I plus plus. And after that open the for loop. Then we want to find the minimum element. For finding the minimum element, so we are going to declare our first element in the array as the minimum element. Considering the first element in the array as minimum element, that is a of I, a of 0. German 100 is assigned as 0, and it is here 100 is the first element, that is to be stored in the variable min. Considering the first element as the minimum element, and its position is also set, POS. It is declared as int POS. Two variables are declared. That is minimum element and its position. Then there is another for loop for int j equal I, j less than n, j plus plus. So this for loop is for finding the minimum element. Here j, usually j equal to 0, like that we said initial value is 0. But here since we declared the first element as minimum element, we don't know which that is the next coming element will be, that is for the second iteration the element in the second position will be the minimum element. So we can give like we are giving like this, that is j equal to I. Then condition will be checked up to j less than n, j plus plus. Then open the for loop. Here we again check the condition, that is if a of j less than min, that is already we declared the first element as the minimum element. If a of j, that is element at the a of j's position, that is less than min. If it's the condition is true, then we declared minimum element as a of j. That is we found the minimum element from the subarray. Then its position is also set, that is position equal to j. Then close the if loop, close the inner for loop. So by doing this we found the minimum element in the array. What's the next thing? After finding the minimum element, our next thing we want to do is we want to swap the elements, isn't it? So already you know the swapping technique, isn't it? That is, here we declare a temporary variable t, and the element a of I, that is first element, that is stored to the temporary element at the first position, that is considered as the minimum element, that is stored to the temporary variable. Then what we are doing is, next thing is a of post, means the minimum element is stored to the first element's position. Then whatever the element in the temporary, that is stored to a of post, that is the elements, that is the combined elements positions are interchanged. So swapping is over. After the swapping, the outer for loop is closed here. So after doing the entire process, what happens is the entire elements in the array get sorted until the condition violates. So after that we get a set of sorted elements, and our next purpose is to print the sorted elements. So again a printing message, system.out.println sorted array. So here again, since it is an array, here we use a for loop for printing the elements. So that is for I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, system.out.print a of I. Here plus, then give a space between the elements. Instead of that, you can give system.out.println a of I. So the elements will be printed in column wise. If you are giving like this, the elements will be printed in a single row with a space between the elements. So close the for loop, close the main, close the class. So this is selection sort technique. So the output of the program will be like this. The first message comes like this, unsorted array. So the unsorted elements will be printed. After applying the selection sort process, the sorted array, we will get the sorted array, and the sorted array elements will be printed in ascending order. So you can do this same program in descending order also with a minute variation. That is, in this program line here, that is in this line, that is if a of j less than min. Instead of that, if you are giving if a of j greater than min, then the entire elements in the array will be sorted according to descending order. That is, the largest element will be printed, that is 100 will be printed first, then 90, like that it goes. That is this only variation, that is a of j greater than min. Here we are giving a of j less than min. This is for ascending order. For descending order format, a of j greater than min. The elements will be printed in descending order in selection sort process. So this is about selection sort technique. So students, I hope you get a clear idea about selection sort. So thoroughly study this program by doing a dry run. Only after doing that, you know the concept. So this is about selection sort. So we will continue with a new topic in the next class. Thank you.